Good afternoon, America, the greatest country on earth where hope springs eternal. And today's special guests, we have two special guests. The first one that we'll interview, World War II Army veteran, 100-year-old Jack Moran. You may remember Jack from a couple weeks ago where we started doing some stories with Bill. And now Jack has some stories for us to dig a little deeper into what the greatest generation gave to this great country. Welcome, Jack.
Oh, good. Thanks. Glad to be here. And
hey, Jack.
tell you about.
And with us also today is our special guest host. You love her, from Nashville, Tennessee, Stacy Case.
Hey, everybody. So glad to be back with you today. And Jack, it is my honor to be able to chat with you once again. You know, we could just sit and listen to you and Bill all day long, story after story after story, and just try to soak up a little bit of that wisdom, just a little bit.
Yeah, I could talk for hours
I know.
without notes.
Well, that's great, because we're going to get started with that right away. So where we left off, we left off, you know, you were telling stories about Battle of the Bulge and what it was like to liberate the concentration camp Buchenwald. So what were some of the keys? I know you have some great stories on keys to survival, so I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you talk.
Okay. But there's a great deal of luck in battle, good luck and bad luck. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about what I think were bad luck, but turned out to be good luck. The first morning we were in combat, we got out of our foxholes. It was orders to just advance and start heading towards the Germans. We'd gone about 15 feet when the Germans opened up on us with machine guns and 88s. They could see us. They were up in the hills. They could see us, but we could not see them. The first 88 exploded about 20 feet, 40 feet to my right, knocked down 3 of our men. But you don't have time to go check and see out there. You must keep going. You holler for a medic and hope the medic gets there to help the wounded. Good friend of mine named Hugh Gorman was hit by one of the machine guns. He hit in the face and ripped his face right off.
Mm.
He was gone, and I never would see him again. But 50 years later, about 50 years later, 60 years later, I was leafing through some military magazines, and I came across a 2-page article about Hugh Gorman. And I was so glad to see this. It described what Hugh went through after being machine gunned in the face. And he was in a military hospital for 4 years, had 13 operations to put his face back together, and his jaw and his teeth and all that go with it. But so glad to talk to Hugh. We thought we'd never see each other again. And through that article, I was able to contact Hugh. I got his phone number. I called him, and he was so surprised to hear from me. And we had a very joyful reunion. He was back in Ohio now. Anyway, talking to Hugh about what he went through. He in the hospital for 4 years, had 13 operations to put his face back together. And so I asked Hugh, was he glad he got hit? Was he glad he went through all this? He said, hell yes. He said, that was $1 million wound. Now, I would consider $1 million wound being hit in the shoulder or in the legs, someplace where you had to go back to the hospital, but not to be hit in the face. But thankfully, it missed his spinal cord and his brain, so he survived. They had a picture of Hugh in this article, and I didn't recognize him at all. And he understood that. But we had a great conversation, and we'll get together someday. But he was so lucky to get hit. He considered himself so lucky to get hit in the face and get wounded like he did. Another good article, a man named Bob Jacoby. Bob was a military spotter. And a military spotter has to be, artillery spotter, has to be up in the second story of a home so he can see, or a building, so he can see how the shells are exploding on the enemy and see if they should be, are they off, left, right, up, or short. So Bob was in this second story of this building one day, directing artillery fire. An 88 came right through the window and exploded in the room, and a big piece of shrapnel ripped out Bob's left kidney. So Bob's laying on the floor bleeding to death. And at that moment, just moments later, the Germans attacked that building and drove out the Americans. But you can't take, in a situation like that, you cannot take the wounded with you or the dead. You must just get out of there yourself. So they left Bob laying on the floor bleeding to death. And 3 Germans entered the room. And Bob thought, well, he's just going to pull out this, one of them's going to pull out his Luger and blow my brains out and put me out of my misery, which did not happen. One of the 3 Germans happened to be a medic, and he had some binding material with him. So he tied up Bob's side real tight to stop the loss of blood. He was bleeding. He couldn't stop the internal bleeding, but he could stop the external bleeding. So he did that. and so Bob's laying there on the floor, but the Germans said, you're going to die within 30 minutes, no matter what happens. You're dead in 30 minutes. And about 20 minutes later, we attacked the building, drove the Germans out, and were able to get Bob out of there and get him to a hospital. So he lived. And Bob and I have talked many times on the phone since then. He died not too long ago, but his good luck that one of the Germans was a medic, and of course it was Hugh Gorman's good luck that he didn't die. So anyway, I'll tell you one more case. A fellow named Frank Nagel. The night we went to cross the Rhine River, we were going to cross the river at exactly midnight, and we were down on the shore of the river, and we had 16 little boats down there, very, very small boats. The surface of the boat's about the size of a pool table, and they're going to put 8 men in each boat. Put our rifles down in the middle of the boat and pick up a paddle. And about 5 minutes to 12, the captain came up to me and said, Jack, I want a radio man in your boat. So I want you to take Frank Nagel and give me Frank was a radio man, and give me one of your men. So that was fine with me. So I put Frank Nagel in. I was number 1 in boat 16. And then number 2 man was my assistant. He was beside me. The number 3 man was right behind me. That's where I put Frank. I put Frank behind me, and I gave him from Minnesota to the captain to go put in another boat. So at 12 o'clock, we quietly put our boats in the water and start paddling as quietly as could. And of course, it's impossible for 150 men to keep quiet. Anyway, we got out in the middle of the boat, out in the middle of the river, and the Germans lit up the river like Dodger Stadium at 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock. It was flares all over the place. And then they opened up on us with heavy machine guns. And the first heavy machine gun opened up on us, and the first burst just skinned me, just got past me by an inch and nailed Frank in the upper body and killed Frank. So Frank toppled over on me. And another burst went through my pants on the right-hand side of me. It hit my number 8 or 9 man. Another burst just cleared my head, and he killed the engineer in the back of the boat. He toppled over into the river. So we were just got shot up pretty bad. And the minute the machine guns opened up, I heard praying. I heard guys praying for help. I heard guys cursing. I heard guys screaming as they got hit. And it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And when we landed, I was screaming at my men, dig, dig, dig. I just kept screaming, dig those paddles as hard as you can, as fast as you can. And we managed to get to our boat got to the other side, got to the shore. And in civilian life, you pull the boat up on the shore and take care of your equipment. But in scene like this, we just jumped out of the boat and let the boat go. So the boat went spinning down the river with the dead and the wounded, and as did other boats. The same situation. So we flopped on the beach and trying to catch our breath after going under such a tremendous physical and psychological program. It was real tough. So the word came down to get up and attack the city in front of us, but it was pitch dark. You couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. So we all got up and we started firing our M1 rifles from the hip as fast as we could, just firing into the dark at hip level, hoping to hit whatever was in there, if there was anybody in front of us. And about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, we reached the innermost buildings and was able to watch they were firing 20mm anti-aircraft guns at us from up on the castle above us, and we were watching these shells go screaming by and hitting the guys on the beach. But we lost about 70 men that night in the water. It was a terrible, terrible loss. But that was our job. And then one more case of the night that oh wait, no, that was okay. No, okay. I tell you about story about. I told you a story about Bob Jacoby.
You talked about Frank.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah. Frank Nagel. Frank Nagel was the name of the kid on the river, and Bob Jacoby was the up in the hills.
Yeah, that was your spotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, while you're coming to that, I mean, one of the things that I noticed in reading up on your history is, I'm not sure if it was your fault or just the luck that you brought, but it seemed like every unit that you were assigned to suffered significant casualties. There was one where I think 38 out of 40 of your guys died in like 15 seconds. Another incident where 96 were killed and 113 were injured.
that's the SOAR Valley, yeah.
Yeah, in the very first
Yeah.
valley. So
That's when you were in the
I mean,
foxholes, yeah.
it was a bloody, messy war, and for you to come out through all of that, Battle of the Bulge and all that, crossing the Rhine under gunfire, and it's pretty remarkable that you're still here.
Oh, it is absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I'll tell you one more quick story. We were in a tough battle on Hill 360 in the SOAR Valley. We were fighting the 11th Panzer Division, and they were tough. We were relieved late in the afternoon and came down off the hill to get rest and something to drink and get ready for our next mission. Got down to the bottom of the hill, and I was dying of thirst. Now, in combat, there's 2 things you must have every single day. You must have rest, and you must have water. Food is unnecessary. It's vital, but it's not necessary to have it that day. So I went down to the bottom of the hill, and I was dying of thirst, absolutely dying. I had to have some water. And at the bottom of the hill was a horse trough, a big stone horse trough with a statue in it. But this water in there must have been the worst water in the world. Must have been 1 million microbes per ounce. But I put my canteen in there and got some water and drank it. And it relieved my need for water. We got an order to circle around this hill and go into a town called Walsheim up the road about a mile. So we left the area, went up to Walsheim, got into the buildings for the night. And that night, it was my turn to take out a night patrol. And that's the most dangerous thing in the world, is taking out a night patrol. because you're leading 2 or 3 other men, maybe 4 of you. You're going into the dark, hoping to contact the enemy, either kill some of the enemy or capture some, or just see what they were doing. Just bring back information for G2. So it was my turn that night to take out the patrol that night, and about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, before the patrol was to go, I started to get sick from drinking that bad water. Oh, I got sick. I was turning inside out.
Oh,
I thought I was going to die. So one of the other sergeants saw how sick I was. He says, Jack, you're too sick to go out on patrol tonight. I'll take your patrol tonight. You take mine tomorrow night. And I said, Johnny, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So I curled up in the corner of the building in the room and just in horrible shape physically. And about 9 o'clock, Johnny and these other 2 guys took off and went out on night patrol. They came back in about 45 minutes carrying Johnny. He was all shot up. And to this day, I wonder where I would be if I had taken off that patrol. Would I have gone where Johnny went? Would I have been shot up the same he was? So that drink of water saved my life.
Yeah.
A terrible
and nearly
drink of
killed
water.
you at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what
Jack,
that
you
question
talk.
is.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, never going. Go ahead. I was going to say,
I
try
was
to
just
say something
gonna
ironic. Go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna. I don't know if you all could hear me. I was saying it was the drink of water that saved your life, but almost killed you at the same time too. But Jack, I just wanted to ask you. You're in those foxholes for 6 days, and you lose all of these comrades, and you just had the will to keep going. And I was just reading how you were just eager to get to the front lines. And what was it like? What went through your mind that moment that you arrived at the Buchenwald concentration camp and saw these emaciated survivors, hundreds of them, just waiting to
Yeah.
see you?
Yeah, but both those
What was that like?
yeah, both of those circumstances were tough. It was tough to lay in the bottom of a foxhole for 6 days straight, night and day, with no blankets, no
Yeah.
bedrolls, just the clothes on our back, and we were freezing our butts off. And after the 3rd day, we had no more food, so we went without food, went without water. Well, the snow was our water, of course, but just a horrible circumstance. And for the first 3 days, we had K ration. You open up a K ration, you got a little couple of cigarettes in it, a chocolate bar, a little can of food of some kind, and so at the end of 3 days, we didn't have that anymore, and so we were out of food, we were out of cigarettes, and we're not worst of all, but we were out of toilet paper too, which was
Oh, that's a bad thing.
that was a bad situation.
Maybe there's
Yeah.
3 things you need besides water and rest. Maybe you need that TP also.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we just, and at night the Germans would attack us at night too while we were in foxholes, and we'd have to drive them off, and but going without anything to eat. Oh, and also we didn't take off our clothes for 28 days straight. We had the same clothes on night and day. And you talk about being dirty and filthy and crappy. We were horribly.
And wasn't it like bad because like your socks and you get like foot fungus for having those socks
Oh.
on for so many days straight?
Yeah. We take flea powder, open up our shirts, sew some flea powder in, open up our shorts, sew the flea powder in, hoping to cut down on infestation, whatever kind there was. But
Oh,
we
goodness.
were just filthy, dirty, and sick, and tired, and scared, and cold, and just you can't imagine how bad it was.
Yeah, I can only
And so when
imagine.
you walked in, yeah, and when you walked into the concentration camp, just take us there to that moment. What
Yeah.
did you see, and what did you think?
Well, it it was so hard to imagine any human beings treating other human beings this way. These people were all emaciated. If they weighed 160 when they went in there, they weighed 80 when I got there. They had no nutrition of any good. It was all terrible food, and of course the danger of being killed any day. They were killing their bodies in these pits, and people walking around, staggering around, one just couldn't believe that they were freed and they could go back home, or whatever home might be. Their home may have been destroyed long before that. Their family may have been destroyed also. So they were going back to something very unknown. It was horrible. So we did our best to help them.
You were telling the story last time about how I think it was the Burgermeister and his wife.
Yes.
They were forced to help clean up. You forced the town people to clean up.
Yep.
And then they ended up killing themselves.
That's right. They went home and hung themselves. They were so embarrassed and ashamed of but since these people around the camp, they must have sensed what was going on, because that smoke, that terrible smell was around the cities, these little hamlets around there. But nothing they could do about it except go on living.
Right. Otherwise, they would have been probably shot by the Germans.
That's very true. Yeah. But it was so horrible. You just to see people do that to other people. It's just how any human race can do that. But there are atrocities going on around the world right now in the Middle East. You read about 1,000 people being killed in some kind of excursion of some kind. But
I was just going to ask you about what's we see a little bit in the news. Obviously there was more than 6 million Jews, probably 3 or 4 million gypsies, and a variety of other what the Germans considered undesirables that were massacred during World War II. And now you see, like in the press, they talk about genocide going on in Gaza or in the Middle East, or what's going on in Iran right now, where the Iranians are killing mass killings of protesters.
yes.
Wonder what your thoughts are. I don't want to get too political because that's not what we do here, but there is some interesting things going on right now.
But again, it's just as bad as the concentration camps. It's just you're killing somebody, whether they're incarcerated or not. You're doing a terrible thing to the other people. These people that are doing this are godless people, obviously. They might have their Koran or whatever they want to believe in, but they're going against human nature. They're going against how you should treat other people. Other people should be. We're all brothers and sisters, all of us. We'll all come from the great Creator, and we should treat each other as brothers and sisters. But that's not going on, and this is going to continue for a long time. It's just been going on for thousands of years, apparently.
No, for sure. And I think it's always interesting that, especially veterans who have seen like the most or harshest combat, or have been, a part of like what you've been a part of, where you've seen like 38 out of 40 of your platoon wiped out in like 15 seconds, are much more reluctant, I should say, to go off to war, or think that war should be started. That definitely all avenues of diplomacy, or whatever you want to call it, for peace is so important.
Mm.
And those that haven't served are so easily, hey, we just got to take them out or something.
Yeah, and combat is so scary that any number of our men were shooting themselves to get out of there. That guy Johnny who relieved me that night. He shot himself eventually.
Mm.
And they get a dishonorable discharge. It's terrible. They get, some of them get court-martialed, put in military prisons, and then having to live with that the rest of your life, that you were a coward, that you shot yourself to avoid being in combat with the other guys. One nurse from the Division Hospital told us that one day she had 7 cases of guys being shot in the foot. That's
No
crazy.
way.
I don't see how many ways. I wouldn't have the guts to shoot myself in the foot in the first place. But I was hoping for a $1 million wound. I was hoping to hit in the shoulder or in the legs someplace, or even in the stomach or chest. But something non-fatal. But just get me out of here.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was
Jack,
terrible.
terrible. And thank you for just walking back through this with us. I'm sure it never goes away. I'm sure there were years of nightmares and PTSD, if that was even a diagnosis back then. Talk about life after you got back. How was it to assimilate back into modern American life with your wife, Grace, and you all ended up having children and then adopted some? Just kind of walk us through that.
Well, we came back, and of course we partied for the first couple of weeks after we got back, but we slipped into normal life almost as if we just had gone on a trip someplace and come back. We got re-entered college, got a job, and just tried to forget about the war.
Yeah.
I met a beautiful, wonderful lady, and we got married a couple of years later. And she was, she made me what I am today. She was so perfect, and we had some beautiful children. But again, we didn't. I thought talking about that TSP or whatever they call it.
PTSD.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the boys coming back from the Middle East are all coming back with that. But I got a call one day about back 15, 20 years ago from a VA employee up in Colorado, a lady. And she said, Jack, I want you, I don't her from a hole in the ground. She said, I want you to go in to be tested for PST.
PTSD,
Yeah, I can't get her. And anyway, and
Okay.
I said, I don't.
It's a lot of letters, Jack. I understand. A lot of letters.
Okay, I said, I told her, I said, I don't know why you want me to do this. I don't know what you're even talking about. She said, just trust me. I want you to go in for this. I set up an appointment for you to go see a psychologist and go talk to him. So I said, okay. So I went to meet this psychologist, and I got in there. The first thing I said to her, she was a lovely lady. I said, doctor, I said, I don't know what this is that you're testing me for, and I know I don't have it. And she just said, sit down. So I sat down. I sat down, and she started going through my background and through me. And within 30 minutes, she had me crying, and I couldn't believe that I was weeping over my experience. And she said, you have got it without a doubt. So they set me up for some compensation for it.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think PTSD was a thing and as an official diagnosis. I think they called it shell shock. Was what it was.
Yes.
What it was called
Yeah.
up until the Gulf War, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, it was kind of interesting how that all works.
Yeah. Even on days when we were not involved in Pacific battles, 88s were bursting all around us, and they could see us coming, and they threw at us all the time. And so a lot of guys were just advancing across the field, and an 88 exploded right next to them, killed both of them.
I mean, you saw a lot of death and destruction, that's for sure. I mean, it had to be fairly brutal too, because when you were with Patton, I mean, they were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you to try to drive you back into the ocean.
That's right. Yeah. So they were. We were losing 10, 15, 20 minutes every single day. When you open your eyes in the morning, you wonder, is today the day I get it? I can't, the longer you're here, the less chance you have of surviving. They're going to get you.
So
You know,
what was it like? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What
You go ahead.
was it like when you came back the first time you saw your wife?
Well, I wasn't married at that time, but I met, I remember coming down the hall. She worked as a nurse in a building, and I was supposed to return from Europe and be in that town on a Monday or a Tuesday. And I didn't get there when she thought I was getting there. So I came up the hall and I started walking down this long hall. And from that office door, out came the words, "You dirty rat." I was a day late and $1 short. But no, it was wonderful coming home, just to be free and to realize that you're going to live and you could go on with your life. It was so wonderful, so wonderful.
What was it like serving under General Patton? You know, we hear about his style of spirited. It was profanity laden. Did you find that motivating, Jack?
The movie?
No, George
Serving
Patton.
under General
Yeah.
General Patton.
Yeah. I saw George one day. He was sitting right next to me one day,
Yeah.
and he didn't use nice words. George was sitting in the passenger seat, and this Jeep was pulled up right beside me. So I'm sitting, I could reach out and shake his hand. Anyway, the truck in front of us was having trouble. You could hear the gears grinding. And George's driver hollered at this truck driver. He said, "Come on, let's get going. What's the problem up there?" And the driver hollered back, I can't move it. I'm going to burn out the clutch." And George hollered back, "Burn that son of a bitch out." And when the driver looked back, saw that the red flag on the hood was 2 white stars. He knew who it was. So he put it in the ditch, and George went tearing down the road. I've become a very close friend of George's granddaughter, Helen. And in fact, she was at my birthday party about a couple months ago. Lovely lady. And she sent me some nice pictures of George, so some memorabilia of his.
That's awesome. So now you've met your wife and you're settling down after the war. What was it about your soon-to-be wife that said, "Okay, this is the one"?
That's a tough question to answer. You get that feeling. I don't know if it was the first kiss or one, but you get that feeling. She was a staunch Catholic, as I am, and that united us, of course. And it was a perfect match. She was made for me. She was made in heaven for me, and it just gave my life so much happiness. And she smoked those damn cigarettes so often and so much that she finally ended up with lung cancer and died.
Oh, sorry.
That was terrible. Yeah, that was horrible. And we all miss her very much. And in fact, I have her picture on the first page of my. At least I did have it. Had it on the first. No, that's Tom Langston.
That's okay.
Yeah, I had. Anyway, she's in my mind, in my heart, every day. And I'm sorry that she's gone.
Yeah, and you know, Jack, back then, you all didn't know about the dangers of cigarettes. In fact, you were told quite the opposite. So it took a while for the truth to come out on that as well. And
yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry about your wife, but thank you for telling us about Grace and just sharing with us what she's meant to you and how she enhanced your life and just about your family. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
It's a long story. It's 100-year-old story. I mean, I still can't believe how long you have lived and all you have done and all the experiences you have had and what you've lived through. It's amazing.
Yeah. Where did you guys end up settling after you got married?
We went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I got a job at the Schlitz Brewery while going to Marquette University. I eventually graduated from Marquette, and I stayed with Schlitz for 11 years. I wouldn't be in California if it wasn't for them, because they transferred me out here when they opened up a new brewery in Van Nuys. And so they transferred me out here in about 1955. They transferred me to California. So thank God for that. My kids thank me every day for bringing them to California. Because it's cold weather. The cold weather back there was horrible. How
Yeah.
people can live up there on Lake Superior all their lives is a mystery to me, but I think we got out of it.
And is that old Schlitz Brewery, is that the one in Van Nuys? Is that the one now that's the Anheuser-Busch Brewery?
No, they're separate. They were both on the same railroad track, but they're about a mile apart. But Schlitz at that time was the biggest brewery in the world, and it was a wonderful product. But they split it up, sold it off to somebody from Detroit. No, Budweiser's still punching out the beer up there.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember I think the Schlitz Brewery in Milwaukee is still there. It sits up on top of this hill.
Yeah.
And overlooks kind of the downtown area.
Yeah, wonderful product. Great family, good people to work for. But I walked out of in the boss's office one day after 11 years. I said, I'm quitting. I'm giving you 60 months notice. I'm leaving. And I decided I wanted to go into the world and see what I could make of myself. I thought, you're not told what somebody thought you were worth. So I was very successful. Within 2 years, I was making double what I used to make at Schlitz.
That's smart. Good for you. And then you've also spent just decades speaking to schools, reminding young people the price of freedom. As you've been around to these schools and now been around 100 years, what values from your era and your impact on America and American life are missing today, do you feel, Jack?
Oh, I'm as a veteran, and the ranks are thinning very quickly in World War II veterans. It's dropping very fast. I belong to different organizations. I give talks as much as possible. I'm available to give talks, which I do at gatherings or at high schools, just trying to tell people the word that freedom is so precious and so hard to come by in many cases, but you must treasure it, you must value it and promote it, and just be a good person, take care of your neighbors, and help anybody you can. Honor the flag. I'm tired of. I hate watching
honor the flag. Yes.
I say hate honor the flag. Star Spangled Banner being played at various civic sports, and some of the guys they don't put their hand on their heart, or they just look around and chew gum, and drives me nuts.
No, that's a great lesson for everyone, especially for parents bringing up their kids. I think, with the Olympics going on, there's been a lot of talk in the news about Olympic athletes making political statements, which I never understood, whether it's athletes or entertainers. Like, you're there to compete, you're representing your country. All due respect, no one gives a shit what your political opinion is, either way, for that matter. I'm not here to listen to you talk about politics. If you want to do that, there's another forum for that. But that's why I love what the hockey players said yesterday after the game about, we're here to represent our country. We're proud to be Americans. And we're here to play hockey. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear.
You bet.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's awesome. Well, we're going to wrap up now with Jack, and we're going to take like a 1 minute, 2 minute break. And then we're going to have Bill Dillon, U.S. Navy vet. Bill Dillon's going to join us, and we'll be right back with you.
Jack, it's been our pleasure once again. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I enjoyed being with you.